Welcome to Quick Shots, a short format traditional archery podcast, where we introduce you to some of the world's most influential traditional archers, and occasionally, some random dudes.
Welcome to Sherwood, my lady.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Quick Shots. I'm your host, Mick Chambers. Today, we sit down for a chat with Kris and Phil Johnston. These two are Renaissance Festival entertainers, but don't let that fool you. This is no gimmick. This dynamic duo is the real deal. They have state champions, national championships, all under their belt. They're living an amazing archery life. Just fantastic. And I'm so happy that we got a chance to talk to them. This is going to be a good one. Let's get to it. Hey everyone, how you doing? Okay, today's going to be a great show. As you can see, we got two for the price of one. We got Kris and Phil Johnston from the Longbow Show and Shop. How are you guys doing?
Fantastic.
So you're going through a little bit of a storm right now. Is that true? Or
yeah, there's some rain coming in and out. So Corpus Christi.
I'm just prepping. I mean, if I got to do a lot of editing here, then if you guys get choppy, I'll let you know and we'll slow down after that. Okay, and then we'll pick up where we left off. So, hey, why don't you guys introduce yourselves? We will go ladies first.
I am Kris Johnston, also known as Makoa, also known as Robin of Robin and the Hood of the Longbow Show and Shop. I am a trained classical ballerina that happened upon archery as a child and took it back up as an adult, and now it is my job, and I love it. It's wonderful.
Wait, that's what you do? Teach ballerina? Ballet? Sorry, ballet.
I could teach ballet. I currently teach archery, but I could teach ballet if I wanted to. I'm certified and I have lots of experience, and I was a classically trained ballerina for a number of years. So I think archery and ballet actually have a lot to do with each other. But definitely the discipline is there, and it gives me a really good jumping off point. And I think a lot of like martial arts and ballet, dance, things like that are pretty synonymous with archery. So that's kind of my background.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, cool. I want to unbox that a little bit after we talk to your husband, correct? Phil?
Yeah, he is my husband. Yeah.
So currently husband
right now.
So I'm Phil Johnston. I like archery. I've mostly been a professional chauffeur, driving her around to these shoots, which she's done very well at. I've done pretty good myself. By trade, I'm a master electrician and expert witness. So traditional archery got me as far away from that technical stuff as I could get. I got into archery and did the gambit of the little recurves and all that. My mom got me my first compound bow, but it got me into archery. And then an old gentleman, I answered an ad in the Penny Saver for a left-handed longbow. And he literally interviewed me before he would sell me the bow. And when he sold me the bow, he gave me a dozen arrows on top and a 3D schedule. And that got me shooting in my early 20s. Then life came. We met each other serendipitously and got into Renaissance fairs. And a Renaissance fair had an archery competition with longbows. And I had a longbow and I had wood arrows. And I thought this is the best thing ever. Yeah. So I was practicing with my left-handed 60-pound longbow, and I leave it set out. My beautiful right-handed wife picks that bow up and shoots an amazing group, looks at me and goes, I'm going to need one of these. And that kind of sent us down our trail of the past 5 or 6 years.
Wait a second. Kris, you picked up a 60-pound longbow?
As a 64 pounds.
Oh, I'm sorry, 64 pounds. Yeah.
61.
Left-handed. Oh, yeah. 61? Yeah. 61.
Now, wait a second. Now, did I not see both of you guys shooting left-handed? Or no?
Sometimes. Just depends on the trick shooting. Mm-hmm. So we'll switch things up and, start with the offhand and then switch hands as a gimmick. So,
but I'm a righty and he's a lefty.
I'm a lefty.
Okay.
So she is left eye dominant. So that's part of her shot sequence is closing that dominant eye.
Okay, very cool. Hey, so what's that famous quote from A Princess Bride?
Marriage.
Or as you wish.
I don't know. There's a lot of them.
No, the one about how, no, I'm not left-handed, or I'm not even left-handed. I'm right.
Yes, the sword fight.
The sword fight.
That's a confession. I too am not left-handed, and then they battle it out. Exactly.
Yeah, I'm going to
It's a
try and
great
out
movie.
geek. I'm going to try and out geek you guys on this entire interview.
Impossible.
Yeah, you're going to have to set the bar
Impossible.
pretty high for that.
Yeah, you're not wearing your D&D shirt, so just FYI. I'm just,
Got
I just
it.
say it. I just tell
We're wearing
Renaissance Fair shirts.
Sherwood Forest Fair.
Nice. Is that the local one? Is that where are you guys from?
We are outside of Corpus Christi, Texas. Sherwood Forest Fair is in the Page Bastrop area, and they see about 100,000 people a season, and they're the Archers Fair. So 2 tournaments a day, all single-string bows that kind of look the part of that medieval era with wood arrows are welcome. We've got a full brick and mortar shop there. There's several other shops there. And for 8 weekends in the spring and 1 weekend in the fall, we have a great time outside of Austin, Texas.
We
Hey,
do.
how's-
And we've recently upgraded the archery rules.
Yep.
Just this year, we actually have a little board that handles that now because archery has grown so quickly there. And then those archers have gone out into the 3D world. And actually, this past season, many of the archers were at IBO Trad Worlds. So it's just been a huge
Springboard for traditional archery through the Renaissance fairs.
right. And Fair Management has done an amazing job of supporting that. And they actually have allowed us to organize a sponsored shooting team, which we kind of captain. And that's what we go and do and, you know, get into trouble with.
No, that's excellent. I was at the IBO Worlds this year. There was some steep competition there, so it was pretty awesome.
Yes, there was.
And by the way, I am, if you hadn't known, I just want to throw it out there, 2nd place winner at the Renaissance Fair archery competition. 2nd place.
Wow.
Dude, I kind of stumbled on it. Someone said, "Hey, let's go to." We love the Ren Fest, right? I love going. I love getting my meat on. And we love seeing all the shows and the singers and stuff like that. I love all that stuff. And then, but it's not cheap, right? It's not cheap. But if you shoot at the Kansas City one, if you're an archer, you pay like $10 to get into the archery competition. And with that $10 or $15 with that registration, you get 2 tickets to the Ren Fest that day. Like, you can't beat that with a stick. I mean, I loved it. Anyway, enough about how great I am. Let's talk about how great you guys are. I'm kidding. I really, it's not about accuracy. It's about hitting a bail up to 1,000 yards or 100 yards. 1,000, not 1,000.
We have a friend who's a member of our competition group. Yeah, Trad Tour. Jessica Corbett. Her fair name is Celestia. She's about as tall as Phil.
She speaks very highly of that fair.
With bright red hair. Yeah, so she shoots there. Yeah.
So much fun. And that's why I'm excited to have you guys on here, because I love how you are driving people to interest in archery. And honestly, the Ren Fest fairs that Ren Fest, it's a kind of redundant, but the Ren Fest that I've been to, the archery hasn't been terrific. So, and then I see your show. And then if people have not seen the Longbow show, they need to get on YouTube and they need to go check that out, because the stuff that you guys are doing is just fantastic. I love it. So people got to get out there and take a look at that. Hey, what are you guys? So you mentioned IBO Trad Worlds. You're competitive archers too, not just.
Yes.
So
we are.
Talk to us about you're not just the guys that dress up and then do the trick shooting. You're like the real deal Holyfield right here. So why don't you tell us about some of your the way you shoot?
Permission to brag a little bit.
Yes, I mean, please do.
Okay.
Let's start high and then go low.
Didn't work.
Yeah.
Let's
Go
do
ahead.
it.
So I was going to start with you.
Oh, well, go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
2-time IBO world champion. So she's done great with that and using her longbow. And I believe 8 or 10 national titles from Asiatic to longbow.
Sure.
Multiple state championships. So
Regional. Don't forget
regionals, local clubs. So she's done very well shooting.
People were probably happy when you got pregnant. They could start to win. I'm sorry to say that, but that's just the way.
That's funny that you bring it up.
It has come up, and I was paid in beer for the good work I did taking her out of IBO Worlds this year.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. So Phil actually has several.
I finished second
States.
to Rusty Horn at
There you
IBO
go.
Worlds at my first World. Rusty Horn.
Yeah,
Oh,
Rusty.
God, if he could have just had a flat tire that day, I'd have won. But I did win I won the Hunters Challenge that season.
We both took second that year. That was our first year at
Yeah.
IBO Trad Worlds, which Arvin Weaver, he's a great Texas bowyer. He made us go,
Yep.
Arvin and Deb. And then he took first at Hunters Challenge. We
Yep.
both did, which was ironic.
Mhm.
And then since then, he's had state and national titles in Asiatic and Longbow and any recurve.
No,
Yeah.
no recurve.
He's working on recurve. But most notably, Phil Johnston is a world record flight holder. And Phil, how far did you shoot that arrow?
That arrow went 258 yards, 11 inches in the Bonneville Salt Flats.
Are
Yes.
you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
That
And
was
then-
a
and then we hit the
broadhead
11.
class.
and it hit the
so-
11. Is that right?
What's that?
And it hit the
It hit
11
the
on a
11.
deer.
You just get to hit dirt, which
I know.
works out great for someone that has target panic. Just shoot, and you're going to hit the ground anyway. So you're completely happy with the outcome because you know you missed.
Right. Just shoot that way.
Just shoot that way. You're fine.
Okay. Stop. You cannot tell people that you have all those championships, that you compete in front of people, that you do your show regularly in front of a live audience, and you got to hit like dimes or whatever you're hitting there, tiny little objects. And then now you're saying, oh, a guy who has target panic. I mean, you can't be saying that.
I completely and totally have target panic. I had, I blame it on two bows going out in the same week, two wood bows I had blew up on me in competition, and one of them hinged, and I was just started missing targets for no reason. So then I started snap shooting.
Yeah.
So yes, I've been fighting target panic, and I don't know if we want to come back to it or you want to go into that horrible story now.
My God, this is so organic. I love it. So let's just go there. Let's just go there right now because I do want to talk about how you guys, your mental game. And so let's start off with, Phil talking about this target panic a little bit.
Okay, so target panic, it doesn't bother me during the show. I can do the show in front of hundreds of people. This past season, they had me as part of the theatrical cast, and literally I was shooting a frying pan held by a knight on the embutment as part of the show where King Richard in the Robin Hood story actually gets killed. The archers miss and they hit the frying pan, and then the bad guy shoots him. So I pull that off, no problem. But 3D targets, foam animals in the woods terrify me right now. I am locking up right under them and shooting low. And I would kind of cheat it in the day of the competition. I would drop 50 grains off the tip of my arrow. I'd shoot 8 inches high.
Yeah.
And it would trick me for 30 targets or 60 or whatever the competition was, and I'd make it through. But talking to Dwayne Martin and Calvin and Dimmer and a bunch of those guys, because we started messing with the bare bows, and they were like, you have to be able to lollipop or, set on the gold. So instead of lightening the arrows, I went with like 100 grains heavier. So now I'm shooting 250 grain that if I don't get it where it's supposed to be, I'm missing the target. And anyone who shot modern longbow at IBO Worlds this past season can attest to the fact that I had it bad. So it was fun.
All right.
So yes, it's there.
Oh, wait. So did you ended up going this year too to IBO Worlds?
Yeah, I was able to sneak up and make it. A buddy of mine went with me, so we just shot up and then shot back down. I got permission.
Okay, good. I was there too with my camera. I was out kind of interviewing everyone I could possibly get hold of. Okay, so
licking my wounds, drinking beer.
Yeah. Well, we just got finished the Bear Bow boot camp, and that was a fantastic trip. And we talked a lot about target panic with Dwayne Martin. Just a great resource. So what about how you deal with it other than that? How can you deal with it? How do you feel like you deal with it when there's
I've considered myself a pretty mentally strong person. And I mean, this was just probably one of the most humbling things I've ever been through, just to physically feel yourself lock under the target. I've talked to some coaches, went to some workshops, and they're like, no, it may not be directly target panic. It may just be bad form. You need to work on this. So I'm trying to establish this shot sequence with bringing the arm back, engaging the muscles, not shooting across the top of my shoulders, which is the way I learned hunched over, kind of hill style, split finger.
Yep.
So more of the Korean Olympic style now, and trying to put, Dwayne Martin preaches the shot sequence. So I'm trying to establish that and kind of bringing it back together. And I said I wanted to do it right. So I would stick with it through the bumps and the tumbles and the dead last finishes until I get it back mentally.
Yeah, you're still a great archer. So just get over this, and we'll see you on the podium.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll be a couple months. You'll be fine. Kris, what about you? How are you so mentally strong?
How am I so mentally strong, Phil?
She is a fighter. She is persistent. When she was in labor with the first child, which lasted like 36 hours, she's laying in bed going over her shot sequence. That is how she handled labor, was looking up at the ceiling, picking a spot and drawing back. So I was really impressed with that. So for mental fortitude, we've got your first place winner right here.
No, well, that's true. But, it's just my shot sequence is my home. So I'm used to being there and being comfortable. I'm used to drilling. So like in ballet and belly dance and all the things I'm used to training a sequence of 5 steps over and over and over and over and over until it becomes muscle memory. So that's kind of how I handle my shot sequence. At several points in my adult shooting career, I have been incapacitated to the point where I couldn't shoot. The first was when a calf, because we had a ranch for a long time, ripped my rotator cuff.
She snagged a baby calf by the tail going over a hill and kind of went with it for a few steps.
That's bad.
No.
Yeah,
that's not
little small animal, really destructive. It ripped my rotator cuff, so I couldn't shoot for 6 months. So I went over my mental game. My second was when I was pregnant, and I just had horrible morning sickness for such a long time. And the second I went over my mental game over and over, laying on the couch, miserable. When I could get up and shoot, I was probably about 5 or 6 months pregnant at Fredericksburg.
Yep.
And that was my first big jump in scores on the 3D field. And I really attribute that to being able to be able to go over my mental game over and over and over. As a matter of fact, my score jumped so high at that shoot that they sent range officials
out
with
for the
me.
Second round. And she shot like 4 points higher with the range official. It was great.
It's crazy.
Gosh, that's a fantastic story. That is so awesome. That's so awesome.
Fun.
Yeah, they looked at me and was like, does she ever miss? I was like, not really.
So then I went through the labor, and I was able to work on my shot sequence and my mental game again, because I couldn't shoot. It was a really, really bad delivery. I couldn't shoot for about 8 weeks, more than 8 weeks. It was a long
10,
time.
12 weeks. It was a long time.
So then I got back into it. And again, this time with the pregnancy and not being able to shoot for X amount of time, I just use that time. Like right now, I still have like 4 more weeks till I can shoot, and I'm just going over my shot process and my mental game. However, there was a point there have been 2 points when I entirely mentally melted.
It happens.
Just melted. So once was at the trials in London,
for the U.S. team trials. So that was 2 years ago now, I guess.
I went in there confident, and I left with 10 less arrows than I came with. It was bad.
I saw a guy walk through the course holding a bundle of arrows. I was like, wow. And then I realized those are my wife's arrows. That's enough arrows to attack the French.
No, that's amazing.
So
that was Jim Laird. Jim Laird got my arrows. I was so grateful to him. But I couldn't, my brain could not mentally put the arrow where it needed to be for the distance. Even though I understood what was going on logistically, I couldn't get it to all connect and work because I was used to a different game.
And that was the IBO for the ladies stake at 25 yards to the world archery to like 32 or 33 yards.
33
so
back.
most was set past that 25-yard distance. So
I just couldn't get it
learning
together.
lesson.
And then in the show for 5 or 6 shows. Okay, so at the end of the show,
You're hitting spectators. Please tell me you're hitting
my
spectators.
gosh, it was terrible.
At the end of the show, I do this shot where I shoot the arrows into a quiver on the target, and the quiver's small. Yeah, it's
Yeah, it's the standard, round back quiver.
Yep.
So that was always the crescendo, her finale. We each have a final shot that we do. But yeah, she would take the quiver and it's set in the middle of a ring target. So basically it's shoot a bullseye or a 9, and that's going to land it in that quiver. And she makes that shot all the time in bad weather, rain, people heckling, people cheering, whatever. But man,
for like 5 shows.
Yeah, we were doing 2 to 3 shows a day at a Oklahoma State Fair.
Right.
So 11 days straight, but she just had this little hiccup that lasted.
I could not get the arrow in the target. Like it would just be just to the outside lip, and it would deflect or something like that.
Just something right off. So we worked with KC with Traditions Leathercraft. He's out of Oklahoma. Another gentleman named Wayne was there. We're vending our shop. So we made up a leather quiver that was this big and this long, and it was huge.
So for people who are listening, that's about 4 times the size or 5 times the size
yes,
of the original
it was
one.
tremendous. You could climb inside of this quiver. So as she has her back turned, I set the final shot,
this
step
is
back.
during a live
show. There's 150 people in the stands, and she has to take a knee laughing so hard because we had to get her out of her head.
Yeah. That's funny. That is good.
And then I did, and now I'm fine. So I don't know what those 2 times were, but let me tell you what, when those trials come back around, I'm going to do my very best to be there and my very best to be mentally stable.
I'll drive.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good. I actually got a chance to interview Amber Yacht and I think that's your competitor, right?
Yep.
In your same class.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not correct.
My dear friend, Amber Yacht.
Good. Yeah. Good. Are you being sarcastic? Or are you being?
No.
Okay, good. All right. I was just like, she's super nice.
The state fair and hung out with us when we were up there touring and doing our show.
She's lovely.
So yeah, great people. She and Jason.
Yeah.
Her and Jason are great people. Great
yes.
people.
And she has a son called Sawyer. We have a son called Sawyer. So.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. Very, very cool. So right now, like if I were to ask you right now, what is your go-to bow that you're using for both of you? Like, Phil, why don't you go? What's your go-to bow right now? What are you using? What game do you want to play?
Hunting.
Okay, so you're getting ready for hunting, right? Okay.
I am getting ready for hunting season.
Okay, so what bow is that?
Okay, so I have a Sarles Archery Sierra. He's a bowyer outside of Austin. It's a glass reflex deflex longbow. At my new draw with this back tension and all these crazy new things with good form, I'm pulling about 60-some pounds with it. So it's a 66-inch bow, 64 or so pounds. I am shooting a gold tip 300 with a 265 grain tough head meathead single bevel on top. Nice. I did good with the setup last year. I took a lot of hogs with it. So, and there's a nice 8-point on my trail cams right now. So I just got back from setting the lease up this past week.
Oh, that's fantastic. Hey, do you mind if I ask you how old you are?
Me, 43.
Wow.
And I'm 39.
I didn't ask you how old you were. I wasn't going to ask you. I was going to just. The only reason I'm asking him is because that's a lot of weight to be pulling for so many years, man. I'm just envious to do that.
I pull a heavy bow for hunting, and I pull a heavy bow for 1 or 2 shots during the show, where I shoot a full English longbow and do an armor piercing shot with it. Other than that, I'm shooting in the 40-pound range for target and 3D.
Okay, cool. All right. Okay, good. So that's very cool. Sorry. Excuse me. Kris, what are you shooting currently? What's your bow setup and what are you getting ready for?
Currently, I'm pulling a TheraBand.
Good.
So I can gear up to shoot a bow I've got from Shiloh Butts that his wife was getting rid of, which is like 27 pounds at my draw by G.W. Flanagan. Okay. It's pretty light. And then I'll work my way up to my target bow, my Impala Supreme, which is 38 at 25?
38 at 25.
Which is about my draw. And then my hunting setup, my go-to, the one I won all my IBO Worlds with, is Bob Sarles Sawtooth. So it's pretty short. It's like 60 inches long, 44 at 28. So I'm pulling like 38 pounds. And I shoot, what's the weight of my arrow?
It's like
It's heavy.
480, 490.
Yeah, with those 265.
Yeah, it still has the 265 grain. It's like a 500 spine, but the length softens it for the draw weight, but they shoot good.
Yeah, those tough heads fly good out of there. Lots of weight up front, 265, good kinetic energy. I've done well with them in the past, and I'm doing pretty good after this pregnancy. I'm trying not to push it because I want to, do it the right way and give my body time to heal, but I'm itching. Phil's been sending me
trail cam pictures.
Oh. Yeah, that's not fair. That's really not fair. When did you have your baby?
When did I have the baby?
3 weeks ago.
Oh, yeah, 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, she's 3 weeks.
3 weeks old.
And so did you already say, when do you estimate you're going to be back out, you think, shooting and being regular?
Originally, I was estimating I might be back up and shooting, judging off my last pregnancy by late January. But now I think I may be able to move that up quite a bit. Yep. So maybe
our rut
December.
Hits mid-November.
Yeah.
To the first week of December or so. So
I'm just going to see. I tend to push things, and I don't want to push it too hard and damage my body, but I hope to be in the stands. He set me up some tree stands, so I hope to get back up there and
I got her some good spots.
Stuff. And a good friend of mine actually bought a bow from Bob Sarles and had it shipped to me in this really just wonderful story, but it's a little heavier. I think it pulls in at
about 2 pounds heavier.
Yeah, about 2 pounds heavier. It's got a little more weight to it. It's got a little more carbon in it. Yeah, so that's what I plan to use for hunting this season if I can get it together.
Oh, yeah. Just go for it. I mean, whatever you can do, get whatever you're comfortable doing now, you can do anything. How many kids do you have now?
2.
You guys have 2? Okay, and one is named Sawyer. What's the other one?
Her name's Ellery.
Ellery. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And Ellery's your baby. Baby.
Yep.
Oh, so that's nice. And congratulations on that, by the way.
Thank you.
That's excellent. Bringing in a couple of new archers into the world.
Oh, yeah. Hopefully they take after her.
Who's the better shot?
Ooh.
Well, I mean, do you want me to do separate interviews? We could have one person leave the room if you want. And
we have a good way to solve this. We're very competitive, obviously, with everyone else and with each other.
Yeah.
So we've had an ongoing competition within our show that is a real, actual competition. Yep. And that's been going on for 6 years.
Yeah, and this will be in its 6th year.
Okay.
3 targets that get progressively smaller.
Right.
Yeah.
And then it's a winner-take-all type thing. Typically, without pregnancies, we are shooting for a beer because after we unstring our bows for the day, we go out into the audience and we have some beverages.
So where are we with that tally? Who won?
Way ahead.
Who knows? That's not
it
true.
runs pretty close. I will give it to her on consistency. I would say she is easily more consistent than I am, hence me working on everything. I can have some great arrows and some great rounds and then completely fall apart for a while. So consistent, high scores.
Right. That's where we are. That's who we are archery wise. But neither one of us were happy with where we were. So both of us took our forms, even though we were decent, we were winning things. Yeah, it was fun. Okay. But we weren't good enough. So we broke everything down to gain that extra 5%. And we're still both in the process of building up form so we can perform optimally, because performing optimally and being the best archers we can be is more important to us than any title or any award or any medal. Those are fun things. Yeah, competitions are super cool. But it is the most important thing to us is to be the absolute best archers we can be. And there are archers out there that, smoke us. And so we're trying to learn and grow and just be better.
Yeah, you're always learning with it. You got to be able to learn. If you think you're the best, you're probably not. Someone's always better. So you might as well just sit back and listen with one mouth and 2 ears.
And have fun losing.
Have fun losing. Yeah. That's been an article I'm probably going to write. I've got about half of it done where, people got to have fun losing. You're going to go out there and only a small percentage are going to win. But I've been in there and I've been the guy that's been mad at the bow or mad at the arrow. And, I've seen people throw bows and throw arrows and snap them. And I'm just like, wow, I've been at that emotional point. I've never chucked a bow because I'm cheap. And I'm like, I'm going to risk that $500 bow. But I understand the emotion. So you have to have fun losing. You shrug off the bad shot and you go to the next target. When Rusty Horn beat me, he missed a whole target on the championship round. Missed a whole target.
Wow.
Looked at it, went on to the next target and shot a 10 and just shot great after that.
2 5s.
That's, that's what people need to do is just, it's a game. I want to be better myself and work on that.
That's awesome. Amazing attitude. I mean, honestly, I've ground tuned some of my bows. Just, it's,
Love it.
it's just like, I try not to, but I get frustrated. You think you're better. I think I'm better than what I am. And that's my problem.
That's what got into my head. I'm like, man, I've won all these things and now I missed that target. I missed that target. Yeah. You got to work on it. It's up here. It's not the bows. My bows, I got really good at tuning bows.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, it's not the bow. The arrows fly perfectly right under the target into the dirt.
It's the loose nut behind the string. Exactly. Hey, so do you guys are 3 under, or are you split finger, or are you 3 under now?
Most of the time we're 3 under.
Yeah, it depends on the event and on the distance.
Right. So like Asiatic, which we both took first in.
Yeah, we both have nationals, outdoor nationals.
A USA Outdoor Target Archery Championships. Wow, that's a mouthful. Yeah, so then we shot split finger.
So that range is 100 yards, 80 yards, 60 yards, 50, 40. So we went split on that just to get the higher distance. But for 3D, 3 under.
Okay. Yeah. And then up against the knock for your division, right?
Yeah, for our classes, have to touch the knock. So we've got, she's shooting a Yoast right now. And then
big shout out to Yoast.
I make them out of stingray leather.
Stingray.
So I got a couple of different tabs. So you got to blame it on something. The tab was obviously getting wet and sticking, which is why I was missing. So I had to do something, and stingray leather was the answer.
Okay, that is a genius. So that's the old style too of tabs, right? That's the old shape of them. Yep. I remember them being like that a long time ago, and then that's great because actually there's one guy that we've crossed paths a couple times, and he's using this plastic material. He's taken a really Yoast tab and he's just putting this sort of like a plastic kind of material instead of the leather.
Saunders makes a plastic.
Okay. He takes apart the Yoast and he puts this piece of plastic in there, and then it's smooth as anything. I love it. Mm-hmm. Because when I was shooting at IBO Worlds, it was, man, I don't know if it's just hotter in Tennessee or what, or more humid, but I was drenched and my tab was wet, and it wasn't raining out. It's just like me sweating on this stupid thing. So, and it was hard to get off the strings. And I agree with you. Getting your fingers off the string when it's wet. Kris doesn't experience that. She doesn't get nervous, right? So she's
stone cold
killer out of Texas.
Well, the women are so much fun to shoot with. Like, we usually have a blast. And, I mean, for that matter, when I'm with a group of guys, Rusty Horn and Bish and all them, we have a great time too. Like, I just always feel at ease when I'm out with people, Shanna, and, it's easy to shoot and be relaxed with them.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, you guys have, here's the key, right? And this is one thing that you guys have that so many other archers don't have, and that's experience. I mean, you have just a ton of experience. I can't even imagine. I mean, I'm new to archery basically in terms of competition. Shooting in your backyard does not do it. And I know people listening to this are going to say, I'm pretty good, man. I bet if I got into a tournament, I would, I'd just do just as good. Yes, some people can do that, but not a lot. Not a lot.
Easily take 10 to 15% off your score for most people, backyard to competition, easily.
But there is an answer to that. If you are in your backyard and you're shooting so well and you think you'd do really well at a competition, go to a competition.
Yes.
The archery community is so welcoming, open arms for the most part, very just sprinkled with negativity. Very few of those. Come to an archery competition, feel the warmth, feel the friendship, and shoot. And, if you're not as good as you thought you were, do it again. Yeah. And if you're still not as good as you thought you should be, do it again and do it again and do it again. Do whatever it takes and start now is my mantra. And if you just go and do it over and over until you're good at it, then you're good at it. So.
Yeah, I think you're talking about the traditional archery community.
Yes. Well,
I shot compound for a while.
we have some great compound friends.
We do. We have some lovely compound friends.
Really?
May the Lord bless and keep them on that side of the wheels.
I am totally kidding. I mean, whatever. Here's the thing. For hunting wise, man, we need archers to get out there. The numbers are getting down, dwindling, here in the U.S., North America in general. And so if you want to shoot a compound, go shoot a compound. You want to shoot a crossbow, shoot a crossbow. You want to shoot recurve, longbow, self bow, go out and get your hunting license, and hunt. But when it comes to competition, it's boring watching the compound guys. I'll be honest with you. I mean, I find it's boring. Yeah. You guys, what are your thoughts?
We make it entertaining. So
the compound. Why would do you talk shit about them while they're shooting?
No, we would never do that because we respect all archers.
Yeah, we respect all archery. Umbrellas, I don't have much respect for. No, we try to make it fun. We've got a local club that has a mixed bag of traditional and compounders.
Mostly compound.
Yeah, and they are 99% great about letting the trad people shoot through.
Mm-hmm.
Lovely experience. Only had one time where a compounder was a little bit too...
He was just grouchy.
He was grouchy. He must have had a bad day because we had an archer miss the target. New archer. This was her first 3D. And he wanted to enforce the rule that you could not go past the target to retrieve your arrow.
And this was a monthly club shoot.
Yeah, this was just a monthly club shoot. It wasn't anything sanctioned. And we're like, we're going to be out of arrows by the 5th target. And she's got 6 arrows. So that was the only time. And then, wouldn't you know it, after
a safety concern or something?
I think more of a timing type thing.
Oh,
and,
gosh.
And we tried to make it right with him, but he was adamant. And then, wouldn't you know, after another couple targets, they had a compounder in their group missed the whole target. And that arrow went sailing into the backwoods at about 310 feet per second.
But we listened.
Oh, we listened.
Yeah.
It's in the back 40.
There it is.
So my mouth also went off at about 310 feet per second.
Oh, no.
With a hug with all the compounders at the end of the course.
And we found his arrow.
And 3 or 4 other people's back there.
Yeah. So all
perfect.
good.
Perfect.
That's a compounder story.
Yeah.
See, that's trad guys just being nice. That's just us being nice.
And then I also paid a compounder with one of those cool sights. He was going through our group, and a buddy of ours who works in our shop, David, he had shot like a perfect center of mass 10, 11, 12, whatever you want to call it. Beautiful shot.
Beautiful
so
shot.
I paid the compounder $10 to blow his arrow up with one of the compound arrows. He just annihilated that arrow. It was the best $10 I ever spent.
Oh my gosh, I'd pay $10 if they had that kind of accuracy. I mean, that's fantastic. That's
awesome.
Take that.
Sorry, David. Our bad.
Yeah. Hey, Kris, why don't you talk a little bit about what you're doing on Facebook, promoting women in trad archery?
Okay, so I started shooting and then I needed answers. So I got on Facebook and I posted a forum video of myself and I put it in a well-attended Facebook group, and men and women are welcome there, though men are the dominant force there. And I got all sorts of super awesome advice and then all sorts of very strange advice. And one of the lights in that dark tunnel was Jeff Kavanaugh. And I got to got to know him a little better, and he started helping me a little bit here and there. And then I kind of got it together and understood some of the differences between men and women in archery, and realized after I had been studying and talking to some other wonderful women archers like Encarna and Fawn, I just went straight to the top.
No stopping anywhere in between. That's funny. And by the way, this is the second podcast in a row Kavanaugh gets a shout out. So, and I reached out to him to come on the show.
Well earned.
To come on the show, and I haven't heard back from him yet. So if you're listening, Jeff Kavanaugh.
I'm a holler.
Fellow Canadian.
Mm-hmm.
Start returning my messages. Go ahead.
He's been super helpful to me.
Very good.
And just helping me weed through all the mess, because as a new archer, you don't know who's telling you what. You don't know where to look for informational resources. Yay, the push. Way to go, guys. So glad
Absolutely the push.
Yeah, expedited the learning curve for all of us. Get primal. So I realized there was a great missing huge chunk of information. as far as females go. So much of the time women were getting hand-me-down equipment, which is great. I have a lot of hand-me-down equipment. Most of my equipment is actually, or much of it. But they weren't getting matched arrows. They were just kind of like, here, go shoot this or go shoot that. And a lot of them wanted to be more serious about it. So I started a Facebook group specifically dedicated to women of traditional archery, because there's plenty of compound groups for women in archery, which I'm a member of many of those as well. And they're a great resource. Occasionally I'll snag a trad archer out of there. But so Women of Traditional Archery was created. And it was actually created entirely on the foundation of breasts, and breasts getting in the way of strings. And men, you appreciate them.
We're big fans, but we don't really have that reference on this side.
No, we don't know what we're talking about. There's another one too, though. I find that my wife and girls, they all have these, protracted elbows or whatever.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Anyway, I don't actually have that problem, but many of the women in our group do. So, I mean, there's all sorts of upper body situations that have to be dealt with that don't translate very well to the male body. And that's not to say that, all men are, some men do have that same problem that women have, and vice versa. It's all kind of interchangeable. But as a rule, we have all these weird sort of funky problems in a male-dominated sport with male-dominated Facebook pages trying to give advice. And many people are trying to be helpful, and they just don't necessarily have the experience to be helpful, even though they try. So,
and then draw lengths at shorter draws.
Right.
Ladies are going to have a 24, 25, 26, where the standard's a 28. So how do you do that conversion? Do I need a longer bow physically or a shorter bow going for cast? Arrow sizes. So just a lot of things that are just female oriented.
Yeah, and there's actually
small stature shooters.
A lot more growth and a lot less fighting in the women's groups.
The guys don't fight on traditional archery pages. That never happens.
No, just don't bring up FOC. Don't bring up strands, number of strands for your string. Don't bring up laminated versus non-laminated bows. Don't bring up ILF. Sorry, we argue over everything.
Yeah, there's a whole.
Really, the only kind of rules we have are, no hate speech, none of that stuff, and no bad mouthing men. So that's kind of our
What bad could you possibly say?
I mean, that's where I was going with that. I mean, why is that got to be a rule?
We don't badmouth any archers, and men are a group of archers. So we try to keep everything super positive and super productive. And it really balances out. It's a nice, calm place to go and learn about archery. Sorry, guys.
That's fine. Girls only group, no mansplaining whatsoever is going on in that group. It is called what again, Kris? Give us the
Women of Traditional Archery. And
it's a Facebook group. And if you are looking or you're interested in getting into archery, or you're already in archery and you need help, it'd be really good for you to head out to that group and just introduce yourself. I assume that you have to register. There's a vetting process or something like that, and you got to be accepted.
It's really simple. The only vetting question is, what is a longbow? And I get the best answers. It's like a total source of entertainment for me. But also we have our Longbow Show and Shop page. And within that page, we highlight our trad tour journeys, which is our shooting team. And then we have an Instagram, which is at Archerist Makoa, which is tied to all that. And then we have a Twitter that's tied to all that as well. So, as
well as an online store, we have everything from the standard fiberglass reflex deflex longbows. We've got wood bows that we have from Fair. I make English longbows. We work with Robert Garcia of Garcia Primitives, and we make bows for the Fair. Can be anything anybody wants. We specialize in the all wood stuff. So you'll see some of the trick shots we've done with the swinging bottles and bullseyes where we use English longbows and wood arrows to highlight those tricks with the traditional equipment. So that page, anything from Asiatics, wood bows to reflex deflex glass bows.
Who's making your arrows for you?
We have a lot of different people who make arrows, but a lot of it falls to me. So JM Traditions out of Pennsylvania, we've shot their arrows and carried their arrows for a while. Larry Brown out of Oklahoma has arrows, and then I make a lot of wood arrows every year.
A lot.
So,
we have different games. We have flight archery, and we have field archery, and we have 3D, and then we have a multitude of different bows, like the Asiatic, the horse bows, Yumis.
Yeah, so we do the traditional wrapped deals.
Very pretty. Very pretty.
Yeah.
I hate wrapping arrows.
Oh, it's miserable. Wrapping arrows is a terrible thing.
Terrible.
But they look really cool.
Yeah.
They're very pretty, and it looks like there's some good craftsmanship there, so that's awesome.
That's been the ones Robert made.
I just have one. Usually I ask 3 really ridiculous questions at the end of our interview, which we'll wrap up here in a second. I'll let you guys get back to it. I just have one really. Here's a curiosity question, and answer it any way you want. Are you getting nervous yet?
Who goes first?
Well, it might be a combined thing. So here's the thing. I love the Renfest. I love it. Love it. You guys love it, right?
Yeah,
you guys are in it. You're in the cast. You do a lot of that stuff too, right? Yeah. So there's a lot of. So for listeners who've never been to a Renfest, first of all, why are you listening to this? Secondly, you got to go. It's fantastic.
One of my favorite pictures.
Oh my gosh.
That's me shooting the knight right before the king gets shot. So that was part of the full. I mean, it's a full castle at Sherwood Forest Fair. They go all out.
Go to that one. Now I've got to. There's a mecca apparently for Renfest, and it's in. Where is it? Corpus Christi or where is it?
Austin, Texas.
Oh, it's in Austin. Okay.
SherwoodForestFair.com will get you there. You can find us there and get all the information on Facebook.
Okay, but I have a question for you. The rumor is, behind the scenes, it is total debauchery at those Renfests. Is that yes or no? That's true or it's not true?
Plausible from Mythbusters. The Renfest, like with people, is anything you want to make of it. There's partying, there's good times. There's also family-oriented events. They have entire people set up to homeschool kids behind the scenes.
Okay.
So there's anything and everything that you want to see. If you're the type of person that wants to seek out the booze and the debauchery, you will certainly not leave empty-handed. One of my favorite things to do at these fairs is when we finish for the day, I grab a nice whiskey or a bourbon and make sure the family's taken care of. I get permission and I get a chessboard and I go out and I play chess till the wee hours of the morning. So because everybody's winding down. So it's anything you want to look for. What's your opinion?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it can be very family oriented. I've taught, I don't know how many kids how to shoot and it's an amazing family event. It's like going to a theme park, like today, going to a modern theme park, but old school. So instead of like carnival games, you're throwing tomatoes at somebody's face that's trying to insult you. Like it is fantastic. On the other hand, Phil and I, as a couple, have also been asked out on a date. So, then you have that side of things. And it's just a very
eclectic
group of people that all have one thing in common. They all enjoy that type of setting and that type of fair. There's really hardly ever a conflict at these types of things. Everyone's pretty safe, watches out for each other. So yeah, there are multiple levels and layers, but like Phil said, you can make anything
it's what you want to
find.
of it. If you want to find that type, you can find it. If you don't, you can find that too.
And the meat is great.
Okay.
The company is great.
And have you guys ever thought about being in politics? Because that was a very politically perfect answer.
Actually,
it's funny that you mentioned that because my master's is in public administration, and my original plan was to go into government. My dad is missing a leg from the Vietnam War. He was a drafted combat wounded veteran, and my goal was to go in and fix the government. And once I got my big toe in, I realized that probably wasn't the path I wished to take. So there's my master's in government. Yay.
But I will issue this invitation to any and all listeners. At Sherwood Forest Fair, outside of Austin, Texas, we are the Longbow shop right by the joust field. If you come in and want to shoot, we will set you up with the wood bow, wood arrows. We'll go over the rules with you. And we also have barrels of extra garb to get people dressed up and expose them if they don't want to fully invest. So come on down, say you heard it on this podcast, and we will set you up. It's in the spring weekends, basically all of March and all of April, Sherwood Forest Fair outside Austin, Texas.
And fingers crossed that we're able to do it, right?
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. We lost 85% of our fair season, state fairs, carnivals, everything just shut down. So fingers crossed.
Yeah, we're doing
we're optimistic.
A lot of virtual tournaments right now.
I'm just really digging your lifestyle. I'm so I know I promised we'd be done, but give the listeners a little bit about what you guys are doing. Like, I mean, you're out in the rural, Texas right now, right? And you guys do you got your archery shop and you're doing Renfest and you're winning tournaments. I mean, just in general, it's pretty awesome, dude. It's pretty awesome.
I like my life.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a good time.
Yeah.
So we win fairs pre-COVID. So we would spend about 30 weeks a year on the road in some capacity, performing, doing fair, and then competing at various tournaments. Selling bows and arrows we make. So, our work week could be 15 days in a row, and then for 15 days we're traveling.
We travel all over the world doing all these amazing fun things in a Sprinter van.
Yeah, we got a van. You live in a van. So not everyone can do that. So I tell people when they were in their teens and 20s getting high behind the bleachers, I was working, she was working the oil fields, I was apprenticing, and now we have a little bit of freedom. We budget it, we sell bows and arrows, and we try to enjoy it.
It's fantastic.
We work hard and
so good.
Made our hobby into our job.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank both of you for being on the podcast today. Really appreciate it. You guys are super, super interesting and super talented people. I want to thank our listeners and people who are watching this on YouTube. If you get a chance, go check these guys out. We'll leave all the links in the description where you can find them, the Longbow shop, show and shop, and go buy something from them or go see them at the Renfest. It'd be really worth your time. Anyway, thanks for everyone sticking around. We really appreciate you. Until we talk again. Huzzah!
Huzzah!
All right. Take it easy, everyone.